Salute, Knicks Nation. The streets are buzzing. Tonight at MSG, the Knicks did all but seal a third seed with a big win over Brooklyn. Late down the stretch, it was tight. After a slow start, the Knicks turned into playoff mode, and Jalen Brunson hit key free throws to seal the deal off a huge third quarter from OG Anunoby with 15 points, right, to give the Knicks a huge lead and to take the momentum away from the Brooklyn Nets as the Knicks rule New York. Let's go. Full steam ahead to the playoffs, baby. We coming, ladies and gentlemen. Let's chop this thing up with the best chat in the biz tonight as the Knicks pull their 49th win on the season and go 49-32, right? And the highest of the season, 17 games over 500. Man, one to play. Playoffs are almost here. You can feel it in the air, guys, as I'm buzzing right now. And I look forward to chopping it up tonight with you all. Shout out Knicks Nation, replay squad, and smash that like button. The streets are buzzing as the Knicks only hit 14 points in the first quarter, right? It was a clear, trap game early, come down after last night's huge heroic win in Boston. And I thought, man, maybe the Knicks could have rested some guys, more guys tonight, but, they got it done late. Credit to the veterans. They stepped up big, but OG Anunoby in that third quarter was huge. Mitchell Robinson, big time effort to hit free throws late, as well as some critical offensive rebounds as well. Mitchie, as I keep preaching, man, is going to be a big factor in the playoffs, right? Best believe that, as he's working his way back, fam. He's given us all his heart and everything, right? And we willed ourselves to the victory today against a team that had more to play for, right? And these aren't easy, right? As we got our, one eye on the playoffs as well as one eye on picking up these final few wins, right? As Isaiah Hartenstein did rest with his injury management with the Achilles tendonitis, right? That was a good decision. So I praise the decisions for that. Miles McBride, non-COVID illness, did not play tonight as well, and it doesn't look like it's anything serious, man. He was just a bit under the weather last night, right? Late trip back from Boston into New York. Man, this was a tricky affair early, but the captain, JB, stepped up clutch, as well as OG Anunoby, man, in that third, right, rising above and hitting over the top of these Brooklyn Nets, man. We saw the full arsenal from OG in that quarter, man. That is an X factor waiting to be unleashed in the playoffs, man. 15 points in a single quarter, right? He was doing everything, finishing on the break like here. He was hitting the threes as well. We're going to give out his flowers and some. But shout out buzzer beater, Mamba, Cam, salute. And Knicks Nation come through the building, man. Great to see you with me. And let's get ready to chop this thing up. Give out some game balls and look at the road ahead, fam. Right, one of the more buzzing ends of an NBA season with, we still don't know where we're going to finish, but the Knicks are more likely going to finish third, right? If we win our final game and Milwaukee lose their final game, we will get second, right? So we have to win and Milwaukee have to lose for us to get second. We're in the sole third spot right now. And if we win our final game, we guarantee the third spot as well. We clinch no less than the fourth spot tonight and home court advantage as well. So we can't lose home court advantage now, right? So more than likely third, really possible for second. And if everything goes wrong, fourth is the worst that we can finish, right? And we'll talk about the matchups tonight, guys. But the Knicks actually got out-rebounded tonight as well. They got Claxton. Goes to show, I guess, how much Isaiah Hartenstein means to this team. Like, we already knew that. But, Jericho Sims had some struggles. He hasn't been in rhythm. So not going to, analyze, Jericho's performance too much. But it was good to see him, get some burn towards the end of this season. He's not going to play much in the playoffs, barring, unforeseen circumstance. But good to see, him play a bit. Obviously, Isaiah resting off the second of the back-to-back right? So that was good. But where the Knicks won this ball game was the shooting. Man, we finally woke up. 14 points at the end of the first quarter, and it was putrid as the Knicks just couldn't buy a bucket. Brunson didn't even score until like halfway through the second quarter, much to the cheers of the crowd. But Brunson woke up like he always does, man. You can't hold a king down for too long. And Brunson woke up, man. In that second, it was a back and forth second quarter. And it looked like we are going to be down 12. But then Josh Hart hit a huge buzzer beater to end the half, right? To put the Knicks down only 9. And the momentum was shifting after that back to the New York Knicks. And that third quarter, man, they just came out, pedal to the metal, and put the Brooklyn Nets away on that one. J Dragon, Drip More in the building, right? We're buzzing, cousins. J Dragon, go Knicks. And look, guys, I'm excited for the postseason now. One more game. It does look like Chicago will rest a couple of guys. Today they rested Caruso, DeRozan, and Vucevic for today's game. And for those that don't already know, the Chicago Bulls have already clinched the 9th spot. They cannot move any higher and they cannot move any lower. So it's just going to come down to, do they want to play their guys, some rhythm? But I doubt it, because the play-in guys aren't going to have much of a break, and they're going to be basically right into the knee deep into the play-in tournament, elimination game as well. So I'll be really shocked if Billy Donovan plays, any of the really impactful guys in terms of DeRozan, Caruso, and Vucevic. I mean, if they do play, it'll be very, very limited, or maybe only one of them plays as well. So the Knicks have all but clinched, as Ronald puts in the chat right now. 50 burger, baby. We coming for the first time in a decade. Cheers to everyone. What a season so far, and the best is yet to come, my friends. Right, as the level playing field commences once the playoffs start. But look, 50 wins is sensational, right? And an achievement we will look back on, man, all over the off season. All the injuries were faced, the adversity, the stronger East as well. But man, the heroes of these guys that continue to step up and make us proud, fam. Jalen Brunson, right, as he lifted the Eastern Conference Player of the Month trophy before the game, right? It was a great sight for us to celebrate, and his family, friends, and the fans in the building as well. Awesome, accolade. He's getting much more attention now, right? All the latecomers are starting to hop on the bandwagon, right? But we already been here for a minute. Dallas fans are salty as well. Celtics fans don't want to acknowledge that they got beat down last night. But Jalen Brunson's going to keep on trucking on, man, as he did tonight. 30 points once again, and close the deal with a step back mid-range J, as well as some clutch free throws as well. Really like the help he's getting too. All the supporting cast. DiVincenzo, avoided the trap as well. Got the ball moving. Hart as well. He's that glue guy, the connector as well. Those guys really, are showing their experience late in these games, man. Salute NYC Ball, Knicks 26 champs, and Ronald in the building. Right. I was going to say, it is still cardiac Knicks, but it's kind of like, you feel like more likely that the Knicks are going to execute. Whereas we go back a couple years ago and cardiac Knicks was literally anything can happen. We could turn the ball over in the final second, make the wrong choice, all of that. But it's so great to have these steady, heady veterans on the court right now to help us close the game out, right? And how about Mitchie hitting those big free throws, man, giving it back to the Brooklyn Nets bench after he iced those 2 free throws as well. Almost shed a tear because, I'm really in Mitch's corner in terms of his comeback. As I keep saying, I don't want to take for granted the fact that we didn't know if Mitch was going to return this season, and he did. And tonight he factored in big, right? He was huffing and puffing, and yes, he's far from his 100%, level that we've been used to, but he's just a guy who's just basically trying to will himself, into those loose balls, the rebounds, and He came up big tonight. But, led by Brunson, who gets an A plus and a game ball for closing it out as well. And we give out another game ball too. But yeah, guys, how do you feel about this victory and Brunson's performance to close it out? Amazing second half, really. To only have, his first bucket in the second quarter, and he came alive with the 3 ball, fam, as the Knicks shot 46% from 3, right, which was big. Look at the fast break point, 17-6, right? Absolute domination in the fast break points, too. And these numbers, Brunson was 10 of 25, right, and 3 of 7 from deep, 7 of 7 from the free throw, and 11 assists as well. That's one of his best on the season, and 30 points, man. We always say he does it both ways. He'll find you and he'll hit the buckets as well when he needs. You can't give him a second of daylight, right? And he'll make you pay. Great performance in Brunson, 36 minutes, right? As I said last night, I wouldn't have been mad if Brunson sat tonight. We were basically really close to clinching, the 4th or 3rd spot anyway. But right, he got through the game fully healthy, and he put on a performance, man, for the crowd tonight. Right, 3 of 7 is awesome, and I just like the fact that the team is looking like they're getting into rhythm. We'll talk about Bogdanovic, who gave us pretty big 9 points in the first half. Didn't score again in the second half, but didn't play much. But when the Knicks were really struggling early in this ball game, it was Bogdanovic who gave us 9 points in 18 minutes off the bench. Remember, no Miles McBride tonight as well. Alec Burks stunk the joint up once again, and there was only Mitch coming off the bench too with Precious. So there wasn't a whole lot of scoring to come off the bench. So every single point from Bogdanovic was big tonight, as he went 2 of 4 from deep as well. And as I said earlier, man, he's looking like he's getting into rhythm too. And let's go. Knicks 26 champs says Orlando needs to win against Milwaukee to avoid play-in. Knicks beat Chicago, Orlando beats Milwaukee, and the number 2 seed is ours, my friends. Yeah, let's get it. Right. I'm not as fussed as 2nd or 3rd. Basically, everything would have to go wrong for the Knicks to get into 4th, but 3rd is most likely. 2nd is a real possibility, like you said too, right? As Milwaukee will face Orlando, who's fighting tooth and nail, and they don't have Giannis Antetokounmpo as well. So, I mean, it's probably just as likely we'll finish 2nd as it is 3rd, really. All we have to do is beat Chicago, which is, unless we rest everybody, that's going to be a formality, I feel. And then, of course, Orlando, I think, will edge Milwaukee as well. So, I mean, 2nd seed, 50 wins. What a finish to the regular season it's going to be, man. And buzzer beater's gone with the A triple plus, right? Dial a Brunson burner for that one, fam. And he gets the game ball, the first one of the night, right? He's going to get an A plus for me because of his slow start. Otherwise, he would have got the double plus, right? But yeah, it was all about his assisting for me and his 3-point ball, right? Together with his toughness, man. And we do have to address, the ending with OG Anunoby coming to his defense and getting into the face of Cam Thomas as well, right? It looked to be a very dirty play, but then it looked like, Thomas was just frustrated and gave him a light shove. But you love to see OG step to Cam Thomas, right, and let him know that ain't going to fly at MSG or anywhere, man. On the blacktops, right? Cam Thomas, he was the shining light for Brooklyn, on a season where, they've been straight buns as well. No draft pick, lottery bound, but no draft pick as well, and no play-in tournament for the Brooklyn Nets, right? As JB and the fortunes of the New York Knicks are in the stark contrast, right? Lifting trophies already as the Eastern Conference Player of the Month too, right? First team All-NBA. Let's continue the buzz too. And just before we continue along on the next guy and continue to shout you guys out, remember, smash that like button. The streets are buzzing. We're closing in on 4,000 subscribers too. So I really appreciate everyone for coming along and riding out with us this season, and are ready for the best to yet to come in this postseason. Right, as I said, we have a couple guests next week. Monday, we'll be talking to Coach Nick of B-Ball Breakdown. Man, he's got Twitter buzzing as he's dropped his new video on Jalen Brunson, right, changing the way the game is played right now. Brunson changing the game. The link is pinned in the chat. I'll put it in the comment section as well for Replay Squad. So check that out if you haven't already. And we'll talk to Coach Nick on Monday, right, at 6 p.m. Eastern on Monday. And we'll continue our content next week. Bill Pedo, MSG Networks, will come on next Thursday as well. As the Knicks will probably have 4, 5, 6 days rest before the first round due to the play-in tournaments as well, right? As we got one more to play, and we'll keep it buzzing. Guys, shout out to Tony from Puerto Rico. Got the streets buzzing worldwide, fam, as well. Nick Streets in here heavy. Jay Giant, what's up? Yep. Who do you guys want to face? You know, now that it's quite likely with, you know, Cleveland, you know, looking like there's still a chance, but it's going to be tough for them. Philly, right? Embiid did re-injure his knee as well and look to go back to the locker room. And that's going to be a storyline to watch, fam. Who is the healthiest, right? As Vaughn also lets us know that we are 19-3 with OG in the house as well, right? Looking like another stroke of genius in terms of the decisions from Leon Rose, not giving up a first-round draft pick as well, right? 19-3 really lets us know how important he is too. And I thought we did miss Isaiah today, not going to lie, too. But look, you give Jalen Brunson a group of committed ballers that are willing to play the roles, and we can go really far with this season. And I'm ready, guys. I think the strengths are clear, right? We can shoot you out of the gym. We can out-rebound, out-hustle you as well. We're gritty defensively, more so than we were last season as well. We can win in multiple ways. What has pleased me the most this season too is execution as well. I think Brunson is still growing as a player and a leader down the stretch, right? Last season and postseason, he made a few mistakes, you know, in that series against the Heat. He owned up to them, and, you know, looking like, you know, he's just gone from strength to strength this season. Steady late in games, finding new ways to score. Defensively, I think has been a better player. I think for all the accolades Brunson gets this season scoring, we don't hear a lot of people talking about Brunson's effort defensively, right? Remember, this was a guy who was talked about as a liability defensively. And not only has he shut that down, right, he's actually become a very heady defender, you know, through critical stretches of the games as well, right? He could have drawn another charge today, but Tibbs didn't challenge the call. It was early in the game too, so let's keep it buzzing. Prezi says OKC beat Milwaukee as well, man. You love to see that. Milwaukee crumbling down the stretch, right? I don't feel any sympathy for them because we've dealt with injuries as well, but yeah, we know what it's like to deal with, you know, your biggest cat go down as well. So yeah, look, it's not looking great for the Bucks, you know, losing a guy like a Giannis, but yeah, that is what playoffs is all about, really. If we go back to 1999, if the Knicks had healthy Ewing and a healthy LJ, you know, the Knicks could have really made that series against the Spurs. So, yeah, it's going to come down to a lot of health and who is clicking at the right time too. Dominic says, I'm cool with the Sixers if we make the second, right? Or I think we could take the Pacers, who we've never played with OG on the team. Magic scare me a little with Paolo, who can go off, and Cavs have got no chance as well. Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I am cool with the Sixers, but they're not my more favorable guys. I think Orlando, Cleveland, and Indy. But look, at this stage, we just have to take our chances, you know, because we can beat anyone, right? Really, we match up well, too. And Nick Yak says, yeah, OG draining the huge threes in that fourth quarter. And that is a great segue to the next man up, right? Who will get a second game ball for me, because yeah, that third quarter, as you said, changed the game tonight too, and in the nick of time, literally finished with 15 points, with all of them coming in that third quarter, right, to take the game out of the hands of the Brooklyn Nets, and to give the Knicks so many chances to play around a little bit in the fourth. We could have put the game away earlier, but again, I'm so proud of the effort given the fact that last night was our real playoff game, and tonight was just we had more to lose than the Brooklyn Nets, right? But we still handled our business, which lets you know how great we are, right? And the OG was a +4, the 15 points, but the threes were great. And we continue to talk about how good OG is on the break, as the Knicks trounced the Brooklyn Nets on fast break buckets as well, right? We tripled them in fast break points. OG getting loose, right? As we didn't have Hartenstein, no Deuce McBride, their performances tonight were even more critical. And as I said, I think OG brings that level of physicality that we need, that we really missed, and we missed with Randall as well. But OG fills that void a bit with his ability to play above the rim and get us some easier buckets too. And look, it doesn't hurt that he's a sniper if you leave open as well. The shot looks like it's coming back after the elbow, situations as well. So next man up, OG is going to get a second game ball for the night, right? For changing the ball game in that third quarter. And he gets an A+ for me too. Defensively, all over the place as well. He should make an all-defensive team this season for the Gold Star. 2 steals tonight, and we are 19-3 with him on the squad as well, which is incredible. And another night where he's in the plus as well. So this is something like 25 straight games where OG Anunoby is in a plus, in the plus minus, and he's making history, right? And 3 of 5, just warming up for the postseason. Is he one of your X factors, guys? Yep. He's cold, says Mumba. Yep. Cleveland stuck in 4th. Bring it on. 2. Yep. Keep it buzzing in the chat. Knicks 26 champs is Orlando, Philly, and Indy sitting with 46. One of those 3 will be in the play-in to face Miami for a shot at the Knicks or Bucks in the first round. That play-in is going to be crazy. Best believe that. But my biggest threats are still Philly and Miami, because they can punch like a heavyweight despite where they are in the standings, They've got heavy hitters, and based on their previous track record, I do give them their respect. Although Orlando aren't a team to play with either. I think, Paolo Banchero, reigning rookie of the year, is going to come in. He's going to want to have a huge first playoffs as well. But we have the advantage of MSG South as well. So think about what the Knicks playoff atmosphere is going to be like if we are playing Orlando, right? It's going to be like it's going to be 4 home games out of the first 4. With that said, but we are a different team. We're built different with OG Anunoby, one of the best 2-way players in the league, and he is on our squad. Well, so I don't take that for granted. What we have in a player like OG, too, in terms of his ability to get into the passing lane, is really out there. His wingspan, his ability to help us get fast break opportunities. Just when you think the Knicks are like stuck in mud, and we can't really, buy a bucket, and things are sort of stalling a little. OG comes up with a major steal. He'll strip you. He'll come up with a loose ball play, and he'll turn defense into offense as well. Yes, he's not a huge shot creator in terms of, that kind of player, but he is elite at what he is at, and that is in terms of, right, pull-up shooting, defense straight up. He's a throwback to, and now I know why Tom Thibodeau, wanted this man for so long, right? He was on the Knicks' radar going back last season. The Knicks had conversations about it, but the deal just couldn't come to fruition. But the Knicks revisited that. They never gave up. And they got Tom Thibodeau, his man, his defensive stopper, too. Yep. And as Nick Yak also highlights the huge steal, right, to get us past the Nets when they were trying to grab that lead, right? We haven't talked much about Josh Hart yet, too. I love Josh Hart's game, and he's going to be the next man up we talk about. Because Josh Hart, man, another night where he filled the stat sheet with 7 rebounds, another night 16 points back to back too. I think he's starting to be a little bit underrated in terms of the scoring he's given us as well. Right, 16 last night, 16 tonight, and 2 of 3 big shots from deep as well, on 66% from 3 as well. So for a man who's giving it his all in huge minutes, tonight was 40 once again, and 6 of 9 from the field, and 2 of 2 from the free throw. He is leaving it all out there with 3 steals and a +1 and 16 buckets as well. He is the heart of the team. And as I said earlier, I think his willingness to just do whatever it takes to win and his experience is what this team really needs. And I think for a guy who, has played on so many losing teams, you really see the hunger for a Josh Hart out there. You see a guy who's just going to do whatever it takes to win, right? And he leaves it all out there. You love that, right? For me, and a Hart's grade coming up for me tonight. Let me know your grade. He's going to get an A for me. I mean, another guy, another hero this season, 6 triple-doubles. The contract extension hasn't kicked in yet, right? So he's a guy we don't have to worry about with the contract. He's a culture builder as well. You see him chopping it up with his friend Mikal Bridges tonight. He's a player who's really respected by his peers around the NBA, coaches, pundits, and he gets a gold star because, he's one of the best role players in the league, if not the best role player. He'll give you what you need on that night. If it's scoring, he'll do something, right? If it's stops, he'll do that. If it's rebounding, he'll do that as well. He's a quintessential Swiss Army knife for me, and a great performance once again tonight from Josh Hart. Right, we got it done, man. We got it done. Yep, this guy continues to be a hero this season. Yep, you guys are buzzing right now. Just be mindful not to spam the chat as well, but keep it buzzing. You guys know what it is. And next guy up, we're going to move along. And we're also going to give Tibbs, right, his flowers, because we're on track for that 50 wins. Right, we are almost there for the first time in a decade. And what an achievement it's going to be, right? Once we beat Chicago, it's a formality now, as we can pre-celebrate a 50-win season. But again, we're going to have a little bit of a break and prepare for round 1, and we're going to be talking about who the Knicks will be facing later tonight. But Jericho Sims got the start in place of Isaiah, and then DiVincenzo also was there. Deuce Miles McBride did not play off our bench, and we're gonna hit on Dante DiVincenzo up next. Once again, shout out for Josh. In terms of his playoff impact is going to be bigger, I feel, than the regular season, because he gets you those 30-70 balls when you're down 10 and you just need someone to light a fire under the team. He'll make a play as well that'll get the crowd fired up too. So he is a real lightning rod for this squad as well, and the heart of the team, right? But another guy from the Villanova gang, right, featuring on the latest Slam magazine cover near you, man, pick up from your newsstand, right? Brunson, Hart, Devo making waves with Slam magazine, and much deserved, right? As DiVincenzo went 9 of 12, right? Woke up late, but 2 of 8 from deep. So not a great night shooting the 3. He went 5 of 12 from the field, 41%, right? But 6 rebounds and 3 assists and 2 steals is great, and 14 points on a +5. So, yeah, impactful, still in the plus. And in terms of DiVincenzo, the 3-point ball is going to be on, I feel, in the playoffs. But even when it's not on, it's a case of his gravity that he pulls from the D is going to be big, right? And they've got to respect his shot too. So, yeah, we're going to be a really, really dangerous team, right? And in terms of DiVincenzo, another two-way player, another guy who's going to leave it all out there. Yeah, and basically make the defense pay for whatever. You'll make the plays and all of that. As I said, just be mindful in the chat, fam. And I'm just going to throw you in a quick timeout as well. Don't spam the chat too much. But yeah, let us know your thoughts, right? Let other people get their words through, right? And yeah, I think the next guy up, DiVincenzo, had a most improved season, and a guy who's going to be on a lot of people's votes for most improved. And I do think, in terms of the playmaking, is underrated. His ability to flash, cut, get to the bucket is really underrated. And look, the attempts and the opportunities has come along this season that a lot of people, didn't see coming, because he hasn't had that opportunity. And just like Miles McBride this season, if you give these guys opportunities, they're going to show what they can do, right? You see Cam Thomas, right, when he's featured, you see a guy like a DiVincenzo get those bigger opportunities, and he's hit the ground running with it. Steph Curry advised him on the shot, talked to him about maybe looking at the Knicks as well. So shout out to Steph for that. In terms of his game, once again tonight, right, 5 of 12, 41%, but he'll get you steals, 2 steals, and he'll get you 6 rebounds and 3 assists as well, and 14 points on a +5. So I'm going to give DiVincenzo his grade tonight, and he's going to get a solid B for me, right? He's had better shooting nights, but he's had a performance tonight where he rebounded, closed the game out towards the end as well, buckled down with some defensive stops as well. I mean, the steals has been a really underrated part of DiVincenzo's game. And I think, the playoffs again, he's going to be a big-time player for that. Now, next up, we're going to talk about Jericho. We're not going to linger on Jericho Sims too much. We're going to talk more about the bench, Bogey, and then we'll start to chop up the road ahead with the playoffs, guys, as we're buzzing. We run New York season series, even without Julius Randle. Man, what a difference the season is for both teams, with one team headed towards the 2nd seed, one team not even in the play-in, and not even with a draft pick in the lottery right now, man. If that is the blueprint for greatness, then I don't know what is, right? A+. Yep. Vaughn says, CT, what's not JB mental? He's one game at a time. Yeah, that is perfect, right? One game at a time. Yep. That is one game at a time. And I think, for a guy who's locked in, credit to his family, his rock, JB's mental is everything for him as well. Skill-wise, he's worked on so much of that game, but with his father, a former pro, not a lot of sons of former pros can really make it to the extent that JB has made it. But yeah, appreciate that, Vaughn. Yeah, his mental is nuts. And as Nick Yak says, an off night is 30 points and 11 assists too. Yep, you love to see it, right? Don't poke the bear as well. He looked ticked towards the end of that game too, man. And in terms of JB's transformation, the pull-up 3 this season is taking his game to the next level. I think because you try to drop back and prevent the dribble penetration and the drive, and he'll devastate you with the pull up, the pull up three. So, I mean, he's becoming one of the top 10 players in the NBA and is a top 3 MVP candidate for me, right? Let me know your opinions on where JB should finish in the MVP, where he fits around the league, and in terms of the All NBA team as well. But next up, we're going to talk about a guy who got an opportunity tonight in Jericho Sims. Had his ups and downs this season, has Jericho. As I said earlier, I'm glad that he, got this opportunity tonight. Isaiah rested, and Jericho had more opportunities last season. But again, he had some opportunities this season with Mitch going down. But Precious coming in kind of did push Jericho back into the situational category a bit further. I think the Knicks have got really good minutes out of Jericho throughout his career. He's 58th draft pick, right? To get anything out of a guy who was the 58th pick is gravy. I don't know what the future holds for Jericho and the New York Knicks. He's on a really cost-friendly contract. I'm cool with Jericho staying as as the third stringer. If the Knicks don't keep Precious, we'll wait and see on that. But Jericho tonight struggled a bit in that first half more. 22 minutes, went 0 of 1. Hit 2 free throws. So I thought it looked like he was using a different free throw action. It was more of an sort of a push shot. He got us 4 rebounds, 2 offensive. Was a 2 points plus 13. Right, so team high in the plus minus in his 22 minutes. So the rebounds are really valuable. He battles, always gives it his energy. I think the next step for Jericho, for me personally, is for him to develop more shots around the bucket. You see when he goes, he pulls the rebound, he goes back down, he's holding the ball with 2 hands, and he usually passes it back out. So I think the next step is to develop, a little bit of a pivot move up and under, a hook shot around the bucket. And the next step also defensively is for Jericho to improve as well. Physically, he's gifted with the switching, and he can stay in front of the guards, quite well for his size. He's blessed with crazy hops. But I think decision making, I think reading the game defensively is still a struggle. We saw Tibbs get a little bit frustrated with Jericho towards the end there as well with, I think in that third, when the Nets were trying to make a little run as well, and he was a little bit out of position when he dropped off too far as well. Tibbs doesn't want the bigs to drop off too far. So, yeah, I think Jericho, look, in the future and moving ahead, I think it'll be cool if he stays next season as well, but he's got to come back a better player. He's got to work on those things that I mentioned for him to see more time as well. So next, we'll give Jericho his grade before we move to the bench, right? And I think positive in the plus minus, but did get lost in the game a bit. So I'm going to keep it at a C plus for today for Jericho Sims. But good to see him get a little bit of burn before the end of the season, right? And once again, I don't think that Jericho will play much in the playoffs, barring some situational minutes for, foul trouble, injury if that happens. Hopefully not, of course. But, yeah, look, Jericho knows his role on this team, right? And he'll continue to battle, right? So that was the starters. And as we talk about the bench, as I mentioned, Bojan Bogdanovic, right, starting to be more consistent over the last 10 games. And has looked better defensively, and is far and away the best piece out of the Detroit trade, right? As stark difference, Alec Burks now will be situational out of the rotation, and Bojan is featuring, man, with 15 to 20 minutes, right? Tonight, 9 points, all in the first half, as the Knicks offense struggled. And Bogey hit 2 or 4 from deep. One thing that is a big plus for Bogey being out there is the fact that, he is not hesitant to score or shoot, right? But he's improved on the shot selection, right? He's not really taking ill-advised buckets, not trying to force it to the rim. He's spotting up and he's pulling up, and he's starting to hit those shots as well. And if they do close out hard, he will attack as well. -1, 9 points tonight. Hit 2 or 4 from 3 of 11. So not the most efficient night, but yeah, Bogey's 9 points were big, right? On a night where we had other guys to help close it. So what is your grade for Bogey? Played an important role in the first half, which the other guys again needed him, and needed him to pick us up. So I'm going to give Bogey a B for his performance, right? And yeah, look, positive, sample. Over the last 10 games, Bogdanovic has been that guy who's been bringing it off the bench and making sure that those non-Brunson minutes are at least breaking even, and really helping us out for when Brunson gets back. But look, in the playoffs, I do think there's a world where Bogey will play some minutes with Brunson on the court too. As I said last night, there could be games where the opponent goes small ball late and we need extra offense. There could be games against like Miami, for example, where they absolutely blitz the hell out of Jalen Brunson and send 2-3 bodies at him. And he's going to have to kick it out and make a play to someone who can, hopefully shoot the shot as well. So, yeah, look, Bogey's role, how big it's going to be is still undetermined. He could play anything from 6 minutes in a game if his, defense is suffering. He could play any more than 20 minutes per game, right, if the shooting is on too. So that qualifies as a big X factor for me, and purely because he brings certain skills that we need, like the shooting, right? When he is on, he spaces the offense out majorly, and, all it takes is to hit 2-3 quick threes, time out other team momentum with the Knicks. So, yeah, he's a real lightning rod, an enigma as well. The public enemy, what's up? I don't want to see Burks anymore this season. I'd rather play Shake. 100% with you. I've talked about that a lot recently. Yeah, Burks played tonight because, of course, Deuce was out. But, I would have preferred to see Shake as well. I think Tibbs is going to play Burks in those minutes, though, because of, the previous history, the respect there. But Burks hasn't earned it for me. Buzzer says B+ for Bogey. Yep. Daniel, happy Friday to you, fam. Nick Streets, Friday night Knicks for the last time in the regular season, right? As we ready for the postseason run, we'll get more Friday night Knicks, but it'll be cutthroat, fam. It'll be cutthroat. Jet Life in the building. Number 2 is ours. Yeah, we're close, right? A Milwaukee loss and a New York Knicks win in the final games coming up, right, on Sunday. It's going to be blazing finish to our season, and I can't wait to see what the postseason schedule looks like, guys. Remember, we will get 4 to 5 to 6 days rest. We'll get a day off between each game, and sometimes 2 days when the series moves across cities as well. So that's going to be big. Next up, though, Mitchy Rob. We're going to talk about Mitch's impact now. And late down the stretch was a huge part of tonight with Isaiah missing. And Mitchy, he went 5 of 6, right? A lot of putbacks. His size, you don't teach that. They say 5 of 8 from the free throw as well, 62%. Shout out to him for improvement, which is what you want to see. 6 offensive rebounds from Mitch, 8 total, and 15 points, -9 from Mitchy. right? So earlier in the ball game, yeah, we lost a lot of those minutes, but late down the stretch, Mitch more than pulled his weight, right? Getting us some second chance points, and it looks like, even with him not at 100%, he's still impactful in a positive way, is Mitch. And for me, the second biggest X factor heading into the season, postseason, for me, he was on target, really efficient. Good to see him get some points, right? The rebounding, that's never going to leave. But B plus for me, for helping us close the game out as well, and getting us extra opportunities. Now, I think Mitch is operating at probably 60%, 65% max in terms of his capabilities, right? Not his effort or energy, but in terms of his capabilities right now because of the conditioning. But the closer that gets up, towards 80, 90, if he reaches that in the postseason, then that's going to be a nightmare for the opponents, right? As we talk about the matchups more later, who we face is going to be big because, Mitch can win those backup, center minutes, right? So yeah, look, shout out to Mitchie once again. The Knicks can still drop into the fourth spot as well, which is very unlikely, fam. But yeah, the Knicks have not officially clinched third, unfortunately, right? I haven't gone through every scenario myself, but I trust the guys who are telling me, the broadcast and all of that. I think there's some other possibility that Cleveland, can still get third and we can get fourth, but it's basically all but sealed for third or second. But fourth is still a chance if we lose the final game, but that's not going to happen, really. Chicago, I think, will be resting some of those guys as well. And look, if Cleveland win their final game and the Bucks lose, Cleveland will tie the Bucks in their division. So I don't know if that means they're going to win their division. I don't know if that changes anything. But the Knicks will finish either third or second, I think. AP, what's up? Knicks drove me crazy. Can't lose the third seed because of these nets. Yeah, it is important because remember, if we do finish fourth, we have to play Boston. We will play Boston in the second round if both teams advance, and we don't want that, right? We want the best possible track to the Eastern Conference Finals as well. So yeah, let's get the second and third seed locked up on Sunday. Right, Bulls will rest some guys tonight. They rested Caruso, Vucevic, and DeRozan. They did play Kobe White, though. They did play Javonte Green and some of the other guys, Torrey Craig as well. But look, that's not going to matter. I think the Knicks will probably play their starters in the first half, win the game. Maybe they sit some guys after that. We'll see. And we'll see what the Bulls are doing. If the Bulls match up with bench and G League guys, then I think we'll do the same. If they play their starters, we'll bring our starters out, we'll blow them out, and then we'll close it out with G League guys, I think. But I'm not as worried if we do play our main guys because there's going to be 5 to 6 days break, I think, before the first game of the first round, and that's going to be good. And look, the Bulls will rest guys because they have to play the first game of the play-in tournament, and they have to get after it, man. They'll be looking ahead because the Bulls can't finish higher than 9, and they can't fall below 9 as well. So that is the major part of that, right? But in recapping, man, as we're about to give Tibbs a grade, OG Anunoby, second game ball, and Jalen Brunson got the first game ball, man. Put that on a poster, man. As OG Anunoby led the break, and his verticality, man, finished it strong with that one. And Jericho Sims got his opportunity with his hops as well. Appreciate his efforts battling. And look, Brunson closed it out. Right, your reigning Eastern Conference Player of the Month. We had Angel Reese in the building as well, doing big things after the college season now, ready to turn pro. But OG, oh my, man, 19-3. is OG when wearing the New York Knicks uniform, man. That is crazy, right? That's beyond impact player. That is a player that makes this team built different, right? And a wing we've been missing for all these years now. We don't have to address the wing spot this off season, right? Although I do have some thoughts about the draft. We'll do some draft coverage, later in the season and after the postseason. The Knicks, I think, could do with another 6'9", 6'10" wing from the draft as a backup for OG as well. Because if OG's ever out, or when he's on the bench, I think to back him up with another guy with extra size is going to be big. There's a couple of 6'9" wings in this draft that I like, and we'll talk about that. Because look, signing 6'9" wings in free agency is difficult. They're expensive. But if we can draft one of them and we can draft the next guy to help us out there, I think we need to look at that spot. I think our point guard spots are solidified with Brunny and with Deuce McBride. I think maybe we could do with a backup shooting guard. Alec Burks looks set to depart. So look, a 6'6" shooting guard who can shoot it well. I think we should maybe be looking at that in the 20s, and then maybe a 6'9", 6'10" wing as well. And then possibly a backup center just in case. But a guy with a more of an offensive game, I think, at the center spot. Outside of that, I don't see any areas where the Knicks really need to make a big splash outside of a superstar, right? We bring this squad back next season, and it's a case of we're the second best team in the East coming in, and we know we can take it to Boston, and hopefully we get to see that matchup this season, fam, in the Eastern Conference Finals, right? But Hart, one of the unsung heroes, he got a big grade, 40 plus minutes. DiVincenzo, 43. Before we now look at the standings and the road ahead, right, I bring this thing up, which is my projected playoff rotation, fam, for round one, right? And we're going to see a lot of these 40-plus minute guys. Because we have breaks between each game, because it's do or die, win 4 games and you advance, I think there's no reason to play around. Brunson should play 42, 43, 45 minutes. He'll get rest during timeouts, whenever there's a challenge call, things like that. But of course, we've got Hart, who'll probably play 40 minutes as well. OG will stick around the 38, or they'll mirror whoever is the opposing star so that OG can guard up. And then the Isaiah with the Achilles, they'll manage him at around 30 to 33, I think. And as Mitch starts to improve his conditioning, he'll come in at maybe 16 to 18. Bogey, again, he'll be more of how the game is going. If he's swishing, he'll play up to 12 to 14 because he can play the 3 or the 4 and spell Hart and OG. If he's stinking it up and defensively we are in a dogfight, I think his minutes will reduce, and then Hart's will probably go up, OG's will go up accordingly. But there'll be minutes where Deuce will play alongside Brunson so that DiVincenzo can sit and get his 10 minutes of rest. He'll come in at around 38, maybe even 40 as well, right? It just depends on how the game is going and how close it is. Are we down? Are we up? All of those things, man. Tibbs is going to have to manage the situations accordingly too. But it should be a comfortable first round. I think if it's going to be Indiana, Cleveland, or Orlando, I think we can take advantage of the home court advantage early, win the first 2 games, and then hopefully hit the road with a advantage, fam. Burks can't play anymore, 100% agree with that. This is AP. Yep. And also that scenario is true. I think there's some other calculation aside from that which can mean that the Knicks can still finish in 4. Right? I think what you're saying makes 100% sense, but I think there's some other reason why the Knicks can still finish in 4, although we still have the tiebreaker on Cleveland. We have not officially clinched third yet as well. It could be to do with Cleveland passing the Bucks and winning their division. I think that could be the situation with that. But look, it's going to take a catastrophe for the Knicks to even finish 4. It's going to be 3 or it's going to be 2. And with that said, I'm going to pull it up now with the standings, fam, and we're going to chop up the matchups and keep it buzzing right now. As we look around the league, tonight was action-packed, man, around the league. And I can't remember a closer finish to a season from what we've seen right now, as the Knicks, at least in a more comfortable scenario too. And that is different to previous seasons, because look at it this way, going into the final game, the Knicks, whether we win or whether we lose, we're not really sweating because we've clinched home court. Now, things could be worse, we could be heading into the final game needing to win just to avoid play-in situations as well. So the heavy lifting has been done right now, and it's all about the matchups, as looks like Golden State are getting punked by the Pelicans, but I think they're resting in preparation for their guaranteed matchup with LeBron. Right? The Kings have really started to free fall. They're struggling. They're going to narrowly find their way into the postseason, though. The Bulls, with their ragtag squad, still beat the Wizards as well. So that lets you know that they can still fight, but they will rest some guys. Philly picked up their clutch win, though, with MB getting injured, though. They did stave off the Orlando Magic, man, by 12 points with that one, and got their 46th victory. They have 35 losses, though, and the New York Knicks only have 32 losses. So we will finish above Philly, guaranteed. Cleveland, huge win for them over Indiana, which is one of the reasons I'm not fearing Indiana right now. They are ending the season quite poorly. Cleveland finish, so far they're on 33 losses. The New York Knicks on 32 losses. We have the tiebreaker, of course. So, right, we're basically all but sealed for the third spot. The Bucks lost their game, and if they lose their final game and the Knicks win, second seed, baby, and 50 wins on that. And then we will play the 7th seed, if that's the case. Right, so that was a huge domino today with the Bucks losing, no Giannis, and the Bucks will play Orlando in the final game. And as I'm about to pull up the standings right now, Orlando are fighting. They're fighting to avoid the play-in. Right, so same as last night, the Knicks would face Indiana right now if the season ended. But the Knicks have a great chance of moving up. As we see now, we are basically tied with the Milwaukee Bucks. They have the tiebreaker, though. If they lose their next one and we win, it's the second seed, fam. And then we have one less loss than Cleveland, one more win, right? If they win their final game, they'll still have more losses than the Knicks, as long as we win our final game. But once again, the tiebreaker sits with the New York Knicks. They have clinched postseason as well. And then Orlando, man, they are in a dogfight, right, with Philly, Indy, and the Heat, I don't think, can catch them. But yeah, Philly and Indy, the Orlando Magic, can drop out of the playoff picture as well. So that's the reason why they're going to fight against the Bucks without Giannis. And the Bucks, of course, will be fighting too, because they don't really want to fall any further with that situation. So that is going to be a fascinating final game. But I expect Orlando to win and the Knicks to win, and the Knicks will move up to second, baby, as well. Yeah, I also agree. I don't see how the Knicks can get dropped to 4, but that is just what they're saying on MSG. right? If someone can let me know, that'd be cool. But I don't think it's going to come to that. But from what I was told right after the game, the Knicks haven't officially clinched third, because if the Cavs win their final one and we lose the final one, the head-to-head must be something different, right? Maybe it's because once again Milwaukee lose. It could be to do with the division, fam. Maybe something like that. I'll pull up the division right now. So this is the only thing I can see. If Milwaukee lose their final game and Cleveland win their final game, Cleveland might likely win their division. So maybe that puts them ahead of the Knicks, right, in that tiebreaker circumstance as well. Because remember, tiebreaker is head-to-head, but it's a division winner as well first. So that could be it, fam. I'm not sure what the head-to-heads are with Cleveland and Milwaukee, but I'm pretty sure a division is the first tiebreaker in that circumstance as well. But look, the Bucks will probably lose their final one. For us to finish 4, Cleveland are going to have to win their final one, and we have to lose. Both of those things need to happen, and that's not going to happen because I think the Bulls will lose to the New York Knicks. But yeah, it looks like Cleveland can maybe win their division still. So that could be it. Yep. Yeah, maybe Cleveland owns the tiebreaker over Milwaukee as well, guys. Yeah, definitely. I know it's complicated, but yeah, we win Sunday and it's a wrap, baby. Like Buzzer Beater says, fam. I'm excited. But now let's more look at the percentages of who it's going to be, right? Because as we look at Orlando, Indy, and Philly, there's a lot of moving parts. So let's go through it. Orlando will play Milwaukee in their final game, and again, most likely win that one. So that'll keep them above the Pacers and the Sixers if they win their final one, right? Cleveland are going to play Charlotte. I think Cleveland will play Charlotte, as I'll check that right now in the final game. By the way, there is no game scheduled tomorrow, so it looks like the NBA is having a Saturday off, and then the final conclusion of the season on Sunday. All these games at the same time, and yet Cleveland will host the Charlotte Hornets. So it's also likely that Cleveland will win their final game, although you never know, because Charlotte might want to finish their season on a high. Brandon Miller can go off. Miles Bridges can go off as well. So that is something to watch, but Cleveland are fighting, so they'll probably try to scrap and finish that with a dub. So what that means is Orlando, let's say they beat Milwaukee. Cleveland, they beat Charlotte. They'll stay. Milwaukee will drop down to 4 if Cavs win and Milwaukee lose, and then the Cavs will shoot up to 3 and the Knicks at 2. Right, so that's what's most likely. Bucks will lose. Cleveland beat Charlotte. They'll move up to 3. Knicks move up to 2. And the Bucks drop all the way down to 4 based on a tiebreaker with the Cavs. And then Orlando, again, they'll beat the Bucks, but they won't finish ahead of the Bucks. Right? So Orlando might stay. Orlando might stay in 5. Right? But what they'll be hoping is that Cleveland can lose. Right? Well, then even so, I don't think Orlando can even catch Cleveland. So Orlando are 2 games off Cleveland. So I don't even think that Orlando can't catch Cleveland, right? So hypothetically, the Magic want to beat the Bucks to avoid dropping any further. They don't want to win their next game to move up. They simply want to win so that they don't fall any further. So I don't think the Magic can finish any higher than 5. right? And again, hypothetically, they beat the Bucks, they stay in 5. The Pacers, right? Who do they play in their final game? Because if they stay in 6, that means that they might play us. But if we're in 2nd, they won't play us. It's probably going to be someone like a Philly. So Indiana host the Atlanta Hawks, and the Atlanta Hawks will be resting people because again the Atlanta Hawks can't move up from 10. So that is basically a dead rubber for the Hawks, right? And the Indiana Pacers will definitely want to win that one as well. So I could see the Pacers staying in 6. But again, if we're in 2, we'll avoid Indiana. So back to the table. And here we go, back. So let's say Indiana will stay in 6. Philly, right? Philly will most likely stay in 7, right? Because if Indiana win against a dead rubber against the Hawks, they'll hold on to 6. So it's looking like we will face, either we're in the 2 or the 3 seed. It's looking like we'll face Indiana or we'll face Philly. Fam, who are you guys thinking? Indiana or Philly? Yeah. For me, my first preference is Indiana, of course. Obviously, you know, if they do drop that game to the Hawks, it'll be interesting, but I don't see the Hawks playing really anyone. Once again, the Hawks can't do anything. They can't move any higher, and they can't fall out. These next 2 games for the Bulls and the Hawks are dead rubbers. The Bulls against us, and the Hawks against Indy as well. Now, Philadelphia, interesting. Who is Philly's last game? Let's take a look at that. Philly's last game on Sunday, April 14. The season comes to an end. Okay, Philly host the Brooklyn Nets. Fam, so Joel Embiid, right? I don't know his situation right now. Joel Embiid looked to go off with an injury. I'm going to search it up right now because look, Embiid doesn't play. The Brooklyn Nets can cause that upset, right? And look, you know, if the Knicks face Philly with a gimp Embiid, that's going to be interesting as well. Looks like he went to the locker room, but he came back out. Okay, so it looks like he's still playing. He's still going to be active. So yeah, Joel Embiid is still active in that one, right? And I expect Philly to take care of Brooklyn, which means if Indy take care of their matchup against the Hawks, even if Philly win, they'll stay in 7, and it'll be New York Knicks, Philadelphia. If the Knicks finish in 3rd, it'll be Indy, right? So maybe the Knicks want to manipulate the result so that they can finish 3rd, but I doubt that's going to happen. I think the Knicks will. I don't think the Knicks are the type to really care so much. Tom Thibodeau is just going to win the last game and finish 2nd, and just see who's in 7, right? Well, obviously it's still not determined actually because Philly will play Miami. And whoever is the winner out of that first play-in game will clinch 7 as well. So yeah, I'm just remembering these scenarios right now live, fam, as we're buzzing. It will be Philly, Miami in the first game in that situation of the first play-in, right? But both teams will have a double chance, but the winner will move into that 7 spot. Whoever gets that play-in situation. So yeah, here we go. Philly, Miami. Let's say it finishes as is. Indy in 6, Philly in 7, and the Heat in 8. It'll be Philly and Miami in the first round to see who clinches that 7 spot. The Knicks move up to 2, where the Bucks lost to Orlando. And the Knicks beat Chicago. The Knicks will clinch 50 wins, 2nd seed, and be awaiting whoever gets that 7 spot, fam. Again, I see Indiana beating Atlanta, right? Because they don't want to drop any further, right? They're not necessarily wanting to finish higher. They just don't want to fall back. And same with Orlando. They can't finish any higher, but they don't want to fall any lower. So Orlando will try to hell to beat the Bucks in that final game. And look, of course, Cleveland host the Charlotte Hornets as well. They'll try to win that ball game as well to try to get third and beat the Bucks. And the Bucks drop down to 4 for them. So I think we're on top of it right now. I'll do updates in the comment section later, fam, before we get on live on Sunday about these new scenarios. But yeah, everyone has a break tomorrow. We're within a reach of 50 wins. Great performance in the second half tonight, right? We're buzzing. And Tom Thibodeau, right now, he'll get an A for me. And I think resting guys in terms of Isaiah, not forcing it with him, is big. And Isaiah Hartenstein rested, man, is scary for the rest of the league. And for Tom Thibodeau, so far it's been an A on the season for me. Making the right calls. I think the offense has improved this season. The ball movement. We execute better out of the zone, playing the zone. You know, it's not so much isolation ball. And the adaptation since losing Randall has been huge, you know. To figure things out on the fly without OG and without Randall has been big to get us to 50 wins. And the further we go, the better the grade will get, right, so far. You know, credit to the front office once again for all these pickups, right? To lose a couple of key guys and to still be such a formidable team makes the case of how strong we made in terms of all these pickups. You know, a DiVincenzo being able to step in as a second best offensive weapon, on any night. OG Anunoby can be the second or third best option on any night as well. And then, yeah, our center rotation is big too. Getting Mitch back means that we don't have to play Precious or Jericho Sims in the backup spot, and that is big, right? Even though Mitch ain't at 100%, without him, think about how we would look with Jericho or Precious Achua in the playoffs as well. It's a big risk, but at least, Mitch can dominate his matchup too. Will Dame play on Sunday? Asked Buzzabita. I think he will. I think the Bucks want to hold on to that spot, fam. Without Giannis, they've still got a chance to win games, right? It's Orlando. It's not Boston, but I do expect Dame to play, and I expect them to have a closer game. But I think Orlando will fight. Will pull that one out because they have more to lose, fam, as well. And look, worst case scenario for the Bucks, if they do lose in Orlando and the Knicks win, Cavs win, the Bucks will fall down to 4, and they will still host a first round series against the Magic as well. So it's going to be funny, actually. The Magic beat the Bucks for the Bucks to slide and the Magic to hold onto 5, only for the Bucks to play the Magic in round 1 again as well. But again, the Magic want to win because they don't want Indiana to catch them as well. So, and again, they're hungry. They're coming too. Buzzer says, Tibbs A-. We came out sluggish, but we came back. Yep. No doubt about it. My grade A for Tibbs is more on the season. For tonight, it could be less. It could be even less because, we started really slow, like you said. Yep. Look, Indy started the season really hot, and I think they're a real wild card for the playoffs. Siakam's got experience, but Tyrese doesn't. They're missing really Mathurin. I think if Indy was healthier towards the end, I think they would have finished higher. I think Indy really fell off. They were really, remember jockeying with the Knicks for second and for third at one stage, but they got Siakam and they just never really took off after that. They They obviously, again, they lost Mathurin, who was huge for them, but really embarrassing season for Philly, right? For a team that was quintessentially regarded as the second best team in the East, to finish in 7 and a chance to maybe lose the first play-in game to a Heat, right? Question marks over Embiid's health. Man, I think next season should be a different story in terms of the Knicks being the second best team out East and Philly sliding, as well. Rumors that they're going to be going heavily after PG 13, right? If they can pay up big, they'll have a lot of cap space as well. I think with the expiring contracts of Tobias Harris, so that's something to look out for. And look, for me, for the Heat, you can't make any judgments yet, because when the playoffs begin, it's a completely level playing field. All the wins and losses go back to 0 in the playoffs, and the Heat can suddenly start to play like a better team. And Jimmy Butler and those guys, Bam Adebayo, start to get really physical, start to grind you down. But look, shout out to the Bulls, because they've clinched the home court advantage in that first play-in game. Even if they lose to the Knicks, right, they will host the Atlanta Hawks, and I do give them the edge, right? The Hawks have got some big guns, but the Bulls on their home floor with Caruso, Vucevic, DeRozan, I think the Bulls might win. The Bulls might win, and then they'll end up facing the loser of Philly and Miami, which I got a feeling is probably going to be Philly. Right? I think Miami is probably going to win that game. Embiid might be questionable going in, and I think Jimmy Butler is going to turn into playoff Jimmy, for that one. So then suddenly we're faced with a Bulls elimination game against Philly, right, for the 8th spot and the ability to face the Boston Celtics, right? And then it's Miami 7, New York Knicks 2, right? You can't make this stuff up, fam, right? So if the Knicks win their final game, they'll all but move up to 2nd. And then, like I said, I think if Miami beat Philly, they'll clinch 7. So, man, it's going to be wild. Again, I don't see Indiana dropping their game to Atlanta, because they've got nothing to gain. Atlanta have got nothing to gain by playing Indiana hard, right? And Indiana have everything to gain by winning. So, Indiana will clinch the 6. Orlando will probably clinch 5. And then, it'll be a battle of who finishes 7, fam, with Knicks in 2nd. Fam, does that change anything for you? We can't trust Embiid's knees, and we better not trade for him, says AP. 100% I'm with you. Yep. Wall Street Dame says Jericho was bad tonight. Yeah, I think he's out of rhythm, as well as, he did some decent things, but he has some lapses, defensively as well. He really is a fringe NBA player, and I think that's a compliment to him, because 58th pick, right? If you put him on all other winning teams in the league, he's going to be situational. But he is a handy third stringer to have. You can do some nice things, but I talked about earlier in the show about how Jericho can come back a better player if he focuses on 2 things. I think developing some hooks around the rim, some ability to be more aggressive when he gets the rebound, and the other thing is to also work on his mentality, the defensive IQ, sides of things, the positioning and all of that, reading the game, just be a student of the game and watching film. Because remember, Mitch looked pretty raw in his early days. Mitchy Rob looked like a guy who, just didn't really know where to be defensively, was out of position sometimes, but he came a long way, and he worked on his craft. And I think, Jericho can do that. He's really young, and he's a really cheap contract. So, the Knicks could still keep him as the third string. or they could make a draft selection as well, which we're going to talk about, guys. No one, we're knee deep into April, and no one's even talking about the draft right now. No one cares right now because the Knicks are looking to go all the way, baby. And we will talk about the draft later because, some of these draft picks could complement the rotation, but they're not going to be a major factor right now, right? It's superstar or nothing right now, as we have a lot of guys. Yep. Buzz is asking, has Sims developed at all? If he has, it's very, very marginal things. But yeah, basically nothing that's been a difference maker. No, I think he did come into the league, ready to contribute already, which was kind of, a good coup for him, and for the Knicks. But yeah, he hasn't really changed his game at all. Tonight, I guess he did hit those free throws. He did look like he was pushing a different action, and it was successful. So, maybe we could say the free throw shooting has come better. But again, like Clyde said, he pulls the rebound down. He'll be looking to push it back out rather than go back up. Jericho should be aggressive in those situations now because he's been in the league for a couple years now, right? But on another big night, man, salute to the chat, Knicks Nation. 50 Burger is on its way, my friends, with the final win of the season now on Sunday. Man, it didn't look like it was going to happen after a couple of those losses, right, to the Bulls earlier, Oklahoma, a couple of those frustrating losses, man. But I'm still in shock that the Knicks can clinch 50 wins and the second seed on Sunday on a matinee 1 p.m. tip, right? Salute Knicks Nation. Once again, if you haven't already, check out our friend of the show, Nick from Coach Nick B-Ball Breakdown on Jalen Brunson changing the game, right? Coach Nick will come on Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern. We'll be live chopping it up with the play-in, playoff scenarios after Sunday. Bill Pito coming through the building next Thursday. More content coming, Knicks fans. Knicks Streets buzzing right now. And look, we wait to see what happens, but it looks like Philly and it looks like Miami, possibly Indiana in the first round, right? Home court sealed. The Knicks cannot finish any lower than 4, ladies and gents. Right, let's keep it buzzing. Enjoy your Friday night, Saturday. Stay blessed, and let's get it on Sunday. Salute, salute, salute. Peace.